Hey, everybody, welcome back to A Better Way with Gersten podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. In this podcast, we're talking about chronic sensations that are coming from the brain and heightened nervous system. So there's nothing physically wrong with you. And this is also known as TMS or neuroplastic pain. It has so many different names, but the idea is the same. There's nothing physically wrong with you, and the sensations that you're experiencing in your body are actually coming from the heightened activity in your nervous system and just too stressed out brain. And a lot of times, how do you know that this is what's going on? Well, if your sensations have been going on for a long time and you have been going to different medical professionals and they just don't know what to tell you, or they give you all kinds of different advice that is often opposing advice, right? Or you have been trying so many different treatments and diets and all these types of things and not gotten any relief, then there's a really, really good chance that you're dealing with the same thing, which is TMS. So today, what I want to talk about is this. What do you do when the common advice, just get back to life, is not working for you? And I want to kind of tell you a little bit more where this is coming from. Where you may have heard that a lot of times people say the one most important thing to do when you have these sensations is just stop worrying about it, just stop thinking about it, and just go back to your life. I get it where it's coming from. It is true that there's nothing physically wrong with you, but to say that you don't have to do anything about it, I don't find that this is correct. Because if we didn't have to do anything about it, just like letting go of the fear, then I think a lot of people would be healed. Now, of course, it is very important that we do let go of the fear and that we do get back to life, because some people are not doing it. They're still, avoiding going out, avoiding like engaging in different activities, avoiding regular exercise, avoiding even going to the grocery store, because all of these things feel like threat and danger in their brains, and the brains are sending them these signals. I'm gonna hurt here, I'm gonna hurt there, because this thing seems dangerous. And now these people can really remove themselves from life, and for them, to them, just to say that, hey, you gotta get back to life is solid advice, and I 100% agree. But what if you are already living your life? What if you are already not afraid of your symptoms and sensations? What if you are already like not doing anything about it? Like the advice is often like, you don't have to do anything about it, just go live your life. What if this is all true already, but still you're not getting relief from your symptoms? What is going on then? And then you're thinking, okay, this is getting really weird, right? I'm doing the right things. I'm not obsessing. I'm not afraid of the sensations. I am living my life. What's there left to do? Like, why am I not getting better? And I think that there needs to be a lot more work done. If this is the case and this is how you're feeling, you need to do a little bit of work. There needs to be some work that you have to do in order to recover. And this was myself too, absolutely 100%, because as soon as I learned from TMS, I was one of these people who believed it instantly. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense to me. And I stopped like going, well, actually, I did continue going to chiropractor. I gotta say that this was the thing that I did. But I didn't go to regular doctors. I didn't go like on diets. I didn't do like all these kinds of things that people do. I didn't worry. I didn't stop living my life. I lived my life. I didn't say no to things because I had this pain, because I had learned that TMS is not dangerous. It's not coming from the body. It's essentially, it's okay. So I had learned this and I was living my life, and I was still like, but it's still here. It's still here. Like, why? Years after learning about TMS, it is still here. And then I stopped going to the chiropractor as well. And it was still there, it was still there. And I was really like, what is going on? And it was frustrating. And then, okay, that actually gives you a little bit of a hint here when I say it was frustrating. What is the thing that I had to do? Well, there are three things that I think were the really big contributors to me getting better. When I say frustration, the first thing is emotions, right? So the emotional work, I had to get started with that and really dig deep, and had to learn to understand and work with and express and feel the heavy emotions that I had been really excellent at ignoring. Really, really excellent. So some of the emotions, anger and frustration, over the years, I had like a lot of instances of these where they were just turned inwards and never released, never expressed. I hardly ever like talk to anybody. Like if I had like a hard moment, and I've just like kept it all inside, always, right? So that anger and frustration, so much of that. The other thing, sadness, right? A lot of sadness that was just unexpressed, because who knows? There's so many reasons. Like people learn different ways, like how to avoid, and different reasons why they avoid their emotions. But it was absolutely one of them that I kept inside too. And then the biggest of all, of course, was shame, which is something that I've talked about quite a bit already on this podcast, and we'll talk more in the future because this is really, really big. So I had to dive into this emotional work and start looking at how can I express them and feel them, especially when it comes to anger and this frustration. It wasn't enough that I just in my head was like this tense, like, this like head pressure and these things. I had to like actually start saying like, I am angry, I am so pissed right now, I'm frustrated about this thing. And then, swearing more, letting the stuff out. I started going kickboxing. I started doing all these things so that I could actually get the anger moving. Anger is it has a lot of heat in it. It's one of these emotions that it has a lot of heat and energy in it. So the physical component of like kickboxing would definitely also really helpful. I get it that not everybody can do it, not everybody even wants to do it, but I also don't think that this is necessary. But finding a way to express your anger in a healthy way was key. It's really key. And if you have grown up seeing anger being expressed only in a very unhealthy way, maybe there's like abuse or yelling, shouting, something like that, you may not even be aware that there is a healthy way of expressing anger, and that's why you have not been expressing. You just didn't know that it even exists. So you maybe learned that anger is bad, I can't show it. The other one, maybe you learned that sadness is bad, I can't show it. Maybe you were afraid that with your sadness, you're going to make somebody else sad, right? This could easily be the case if you're a child who grew up in a home where one of the parents or both their parents or somebody was really sad. So you learn that I have to manage their sadness, therefore I'm not going to show my sadness. And this is how you learn to bottle up. So it's just one scenario. Or maybe you got in trouble for being sad. Maybe you got in trouble for crying. So this could be another reason why you learn to hide your sadness. So emotional work is big. Shame, I've talked about it a lot. And like I said, I'm going to do a couple of new episodes on that topic as well. But shame is really, really big one. If you constantly feel bad about yourself, honestly, I think this is the biggest of all the emotions that is impacting us and causing us these chronic sensations. Just constantly feeling that you're not good enough. No matter what you do, no matter how much you achieve, you feel like you never measure up and you're not just able to see yourself objectively. You only see, which is of course I think natural. I think most people cannot see themselves truly objectively, but the way we see ourselves is just so skewed. It's just so off. And I see this with my clients, for example, sometimes. So as you know, probably I also coach weightlifting and fat loss, right? And I see these women putting in a lot of effort and seeing great results, and they don't see it. I'm like, how do you not see this? But because we just have this perception of ourselves that tells us that, no, this is still not good. No, I haven't done enough. No, I still have so much to do. So this is also shame. It's also shame. And sometimes I'm thinking, if only you could see yourself through my eyes, like how I see you, you would see that you're a freaking beautiful, amazing, powerful, strong person. But we are not able to see this. And this is shame, right? This is shame. So, okay, so coming back to what really helped me and got the things moving when just go back to your life wasn't enough. Number one was emotions. Number two was learning to handle my stress and change my perspective when it comes to stress. So this means that, I wasn't stressing out about my pain necessarily or the symptoms, but I was stressing out about like life things or work things. And I feel like there was, like looking back, I feel like there was like a magnifying glass in my brain that made everything bigger, right? Let's say I had a problem, some kind of problem, and I would think, oh my, this is absolutely massive, this is huge, I cannot handle this, let's run away, right? So this is how it was. And this is how I saw a lot of things. And then of course, your emotions become so negative. They become like, oh, life is super hard. This thing's super hard. I cannot handle this, which spirals into shame because I cannot do this, right? I'm not capable of doing this, solving this problem. And your whole perception of life and your work and whatever you're dealing with, it just becomes really, really negative. And this is what creates more sensations. So you got to start like reframing your stressors. Of course, if there are some massive stressors that you just feel like they're just super toxic, they're really, really toxic, they just cause you so much harm, then there's a good time to take a look at them and see maybe I should really eliminate these stressors, right? But a lot of the things are really about reframing. This is not saying that no, there's no stress. It's not a pretending that, oh, there's no stress, nothing, I'm happy. Because this is when you just like bypass the emotion again, right? You're not looking at the stress, you're not looking at the emotion that this stressor brings up. You just bypass that and jump into like, oh, I'm fine. But this is not actually what's going to work. What's going to work is, okay, I'm going to look at my stressors. I'm going to see, is it like, what emotion does it bring up in me? Then you let yourself feel this emotion, and then you think, how can I look at the positive? Can I find something positive here? And what if this problem is actually not as huge as my brain makes it to be? Because the chances are that it's not as huge. It's just like your brain is like catastrophizing, which is so common for people who have this TMS. Their brains are catastrophizing, right? Like just making so much bigger deals out of things than what they really need to be. So this is another thing, starting to address your stress and starting to address your emotions. These things are really, really, really important if you want to get better. And there's one more thing, like if you are feeling like, okay, this advice isn't enough, like go back to life. Another thing that you have to start addressing is your personality traits. And again, speaking from my experience. So personality traits such as people pleasing and conflict avoidance and non-assertiveness, right? These three things, there's more that kind of go along the same lines. Basically, just meaning that your self-worth is low. You don't feel like your opinions are worth mentioning. You don't feel like you are somebody at all. Like, why would I speak up? Or you're so afraid of conflict, which is essentially fear of abandonment or fear of rejection, which can also go back to your childhood very easily. So if you have all these traits, personality traits like people pleasing and conflict avoidance, then you have to work with these things and you have to become a more assertive person who speaks their mind. And again, I think why this is so scary for a lot of people, they think that it has to look ugly. They think that it's gonna, like, if you speak your mind, it means that you're maybe gonna start yelling, and then it leads to the point where nobody likes you because you rock the boat big time. It doesn't have to be like this at all. You can speak your mind and you can be kind about it. You can still be a nice person to be around. You don't have to attack anybody, but voice your opinions, right? Be more direct. Don't go around in circles and like trying to, and of course, like apologize for everything. Don't do these things. Be like strong, assertive. Know that you have the right to say things. You have the right to stand up for yourself. You have the right to speak what's on your mind. You have the right to set boundaries. And if you're not doing any of these things, then there's a higher chance that your chronic sensations keep going on. And the way I see it is like, if you have these chronic sensations, I feel like there's something about you that is like not aligned with your true self, right? If you believe in something like true self, and you may call it something different, I call it the true self. So if you have these chronic sensations, it's like it tells you that you're not the person that you are meant to be. There's something about your behavior or habits or the way you show up in the world that is not in line with the true self of you, right? And when you are now doing all these people-pleasing behaviors and avoiding all conflicts, you're pushing yourself down. You're pushing yourself down. You're pushing your true nature down. And then that's why you start hurting, right? Again, like also if you don't show your emotions, then you're pushing those down too. And again, you're not showing up as the truest version of you, right? So these are the things that for me, this is really helpful to think like, okay, when I am becoming more assertive, when I'm setting some boundaries, when I'm speaking my mind, I am moving closer to that true me, who I'm supposed to be, strong, courageous, not afraid of stuff. this is so much better place to be than like fearful, hiding, feeling bad about myself. And sometimes it's like so automatic in our brain, like I am that small one who is not supposed to speak your mind. I'm afraid of the world and all the events and the pain and everything. But again, this is moving you away from that true self. So if you want to be more aligned, so you gotta keep like inching closer to that true you that you really want to be. And you find that interestingly, your sensations start going down too. So there definitely is work to do. I don't think this is right that you just go live your life. You very well may have to take a deep dive into your emotional health and learning how to deal with your emotions, learning how to deal with your stress, and see maybe you are overreacting somewhere. Maybe things are not as bad as you think they are. And then finally, addressing some of those personality traits that I just mentioned. And these are the things that really get you a lot closer to feeling better too. So I really recommend that you put these things into practice. All right, so if you don't have my free course yet, I would definitely recommend that you get it. This free course is called Strong and Sensitive, and this is a 14-day course. You're going to get one audio lesson into your inbox every single day during these 14 days. And in these lessons, I'm giving you mindset tips kind of like today along the same lines, but also it includes workouts and the right mindset for getting back to exercise. Because if you have been afraid for a long time to move your body, or your sensations have just been so strong and you've been terrified, there will be a point where you're like, I really need to get back, and your body needs to get back to exercise. So this program, which is again, as I mentioned, completely free, it combines the strength training, mindset, plus some workouts. Yes, there are free workouts included in them, and then also the mindset work that you need to do in order to recover from these chronic sensations. It's also really, really suitable for people who are highly sensitive people, because I'm addressing a lot of these topics that come up for them as well. And the truth is that a lot of times it's the highly sensitive people who tend to get more of these TMS sensations as well. So make sure that you get that course if you didn't yet. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.